Sheila Kurland, and I was married to a most wonderful man, Stan Kurland. Right when Stan was ready to retire, about a week later, he had a seizure. We quickly learned that he had brain cancer. 11 months later, Stan passed away. During those 11 months, Stan was very self-aware.
He was able to see that he was going to do something that was going to change things for others.
He realized that we needed to raise money for brain cancer research to save others, and he knew it wouldn't save him.
He understood what this disease was, and I think his goal was to do something for other people.
This is something that was core to Stan. When you commit to something, you stay committed to it. And we are going to stay committed until we find a cure for brain cancer.
Dr. Nathanson and I had a meeting with him and his family. We got to the second slide, and he said, "I understand what you want to do. Tell me how much money you need."
Stan was an incredibly compassionate, giving man.
We now have the SLK charity golf tournament in his memory, and we raise money for research at UCLA.
Our goal is to get patients to be able to live an additional few months, additional few years, and then ultimately lead to a cure.
Stan was diagnosed with a glioblastoma.
Glioblastoma is a grade 4 primary brain tumor. And so that is a tumor that arises from the brain rather than a tumor that comes from another part of the body into the brain.
We don't know what causes it. And once it shows up, it's grade 4.
Less than 5% of patients who have these brain tumors are alive after 5 years.
There just is no early detection that exists with it. So you have to deal with this tumor.
There's several features of brain tumors that make them very unique. Each tumor is genetically different from the other one. And so you can imagine each patient's tumor are not going to be the same. And so the therapies that you developed for those individual patients could differ. Number 2 is they exist in this very unique microenvironment, the brain. And so we have this physical barrier called the blood-brain barrier, which can prevent most drugs from getting into the brain. So we need to be able to have drugs that can actually get into the tumor to treat them. And then the final thing is that these tumor cells actually interact with the surrounding environment. And so given all these unique features of these tumors, we need to approach them differently, and we need to find treatments that are going to be unique for them.
It's such an important part of who we are and what we do. It's the brain. You could remove a lung and still be okay. You can't really remove half the brain and be okay. There are some areas that are just critical to our independence, our function being self-directed. And we can't just chip away at that. In most of our therapies, we're limited by how much it would chip away at that.
We have to identify these drugs to get into the brain and then be able to understand how it's affecting the tumor and then come in with something else.
We've actually helped the doctors to make breakthroughs.
We've identified that there are 2 blockers that prevent a glioblastoma tumor cell from undergoing cell death. We also discovered a drug that could get into the brain, so this was made in the lab, hit a target that can slow the tumor growth down, number 1, and number 2, it can take out one of the blockers. On the other hand, we've also pulled a drug from a pharma company that has the ability to take out that second blocker. We can actually start to kill tumor cells.
And that drug has gone forward into patients with some initial data that have some very promising outcomes associated with it.
They estimate that within the next 4 to 5 years, the drugs they're working on will become the new standard for those suffering with brain tumors.
Dr. Nathanson and I kind of see the path to success, and we want to be able to realize the totality of that. So the continued funding is really helpful to get us there.
What we've been able to do is turn hope into actual reality.
The ability to create drugs and go after targets and to create our own therapies and to push them forward is something that we just couldn't have done in a meaningful way without reliably being able to have that funding.
This is like over 75% of their funding, and it's something that's very tangible that we can see benefits from giving to this.
These donations have been absolutely instrumental. We feel like we've chinked the armor of these tumors. We've landed a punch, and we just got to keep going.
We have to continue to show everyone that their hard-earned dollars are making a meaningful impact in the fight against brain cancer.
There's enough data here for this to be realistic, to be promising.
At Pennymac, we have a saying, greatness lives here, and it's so great to see greatness living here with cancer research at UCLA.
There's so many things that Pennymac and the Kurland Foundation has done to have people that we need to be accountable to, but who believe in us at the same time. We couldn't have done this without you, and we're not going to let you down.
As I often say, there's an easy way and a hard way, but we're going to get to the same place. So let's try the easy way. Please, please, please think about giving. This is a very, very important cause, and 100% of your donation will go to fight brain cancer. So I'm asking you personally, please give.
Stan's legacy was that he wanted to help those suffering from brain cancer to find a cure so that no one else would die from brain cancer.
Let's do this for brain cancer patients.
Let's do this for Stan.
Let's do this to find a cure.